Hi.
Hi, are you sure this course is just for 2499?
Yes, and you know this is the only course with this expertise across the world.
No way!
Yes way. Don't delay. Enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Alright, so hi everyone. Can someone just please confirm if my voice is clear to you or not? So let me just check. Alright, so everything seems good to me. Let's get started. So hello everyone. Myself Ayush Tripathi, our DSM mentor and problem setter at Geeks for Geeks. And I welcome you all to this post analysis of the last Wizard schooling coding tournament, which was 6.0. So let me just first share my screen. All right, so I hope the screen is visible to you. Can someone just please confirm if my screen is visible to you? All right, so we would be first starting with the quiz problems, then we move on to the quizzing coding problems. So let's see. So this was the first quiz problem. So in this problem, okay, yes. So in this problem, the number 29 is in binary is 11101, and we need to find the left shifted 29 by 2 position. That is what is the number when it is when it is left shifted by 2 position. All right, so let's just see. So the number 29, its binary representation is 11101. So left shift operation is nothing but shifting all the bits in its left, that is in this direction, and we have to apply this operation 2 times. So the number that we get is 1110100. So let's just mark this as our answer. So 1110100. So let's just submit this. And the second problem was that which of the following statement about the quantum computing is true. So actually in the classical computer, the basic unit is bit, but in the quantum computers, the basic unit is qubit. So the second option is the correct answer. That is, quantum computers uses qubit, which can be superposition of states, enabling them to perform a calculation much faster than the classical computers. So this qubit is much faster than the bits that we use in our classical computations. So let's just submit this. All right, so this was the third problem, and here we need to find the main difference between asymmetric and symmetric encryption. So basically, in symmetric encryption, we use a single key to encrypt and decrypt the information, while in asymmetric we use two keys. One is private key and other is a public key, and private key is used to decrypt the information while the public key is used to encrypt the information. So the second option is the correct answer. That is, symmetric key uses public key for encryption and private key for description. All right, actually this is not the correct answer. So actually this one is the correct answer. That symmetric key uses a single key for encryption and description, while asymmetric cryptography encryption uses two key. One is public key and another is private key, and public key is used for encryption and private key is used for decryption. So let's just mark this answer. So this was the fourth problem. Yes, Rishi, can you can redeem your gifts. Okay, so this was the fourth problem. That is, which of the following is not type of a non-relational database? So see, actually databases are of two type: relational database and a non-relational database. In the relational database, the data is stored in the form of tables, while in non-relational database, the data is stored in the form of node, graph, and trees. So all these three are the example of a non-relational database, while this MySQL is the example of a relational database. Here the data is stored in the form of tables. So this was the fifth question. So what does the this Linux command chmod 755? So it's actually set the permission to read, write, and execute for the owner, and read and execute for the group and others. So the third option is the correct answer. Now let's just move on to the next problem. So the purpose of normalization in database. So the purpose of normalization is to remove the redundant data and dependency to improve the integrity of data. So the second option is the correct answer. Means we will get a gift cards for being in top 10. Yes, Rishi, you will definitely give the gift card if it was mentioned. All right. So in computer vision, what does the term convolution means? So the term convolution is used to generate a new function with the help of two function and applying some operation. So it is nothing but the mathematical operation that we apply on two function to produce a third function. So the first option is the correct answer. All right. So what is the halting problem in theoretical computer science? All right. So the correct answer for this question is option A. The halting problem is used to determine that whether a program will terminate or run indefinitely for possible inputs. So it's basically used to check the deadlock condition. So the first option is the correct answer. Then in the context of algorithm, what is backtracking? So backtracking is nothing but the tracing back from the recursive calls. So the fourth option is the correct answer, that going back to the previous state and trying to find the alternate solution. So if you observe the recursive calls in any recursive function, then you will see that if we do not able to find the answer, then we return back to the parent state and then try to search for the other possibilities. So going back to a previous state and try to search for the alternate solution. Then a polymorphism in object oriented programming. So it is basically used to okay. All right. So it is basically used to for the ability of an object to take on many forms. That is, we can use the same method with the different parameters in the object oriented programming. So the option D is the correct answer. Then which sorting algorithm has the best asymptotic runtime complexity in the average case? See here, we are looking for the average case, and for the average case, the quick sort is having the best time complexity. So we mark quick short over here. Okay, so this was the question 12. So in a neural network, what is the role of activation function? So basically, activation function is used to process the input, input weights, and generate the result on the basis of which we decide that whether we have to activate the neuron or not. So the second option is the correct answer, that it decide based on the weight of some of its input that whether a neuron should be activated or not. So what does this RAID means in terms of data storage? So this is nothing but the redundant array of independent disk. So now let's just move to the next problem, which is question 14. So what is the Turing machine in theoretical computer science? So actually the Turing machine is the one of the powerful, not actually one of the, but actually the most powerful testing machine that we have discovered so far, and it's generally used to test all kind of grammar, that is regular grammar, non-regular grammar, and everything. So it is actually the mathematical model that defines the abstract machine which manipulates the symbol on a strip of tape according to a table of rule. So it's basically parse the strip, and meanwhile it tests the strip, test the data that is written onto the strip. All right, so which of the following cryptographic algorithm is used to secure data transmission and known for using two different keys, one for encryption and one for description? So actually this problem is asking for the example of asymmetric cryptography. So just remember, in asymmetric cryptography we use two key, one for encryption and another for decryption, and the one of the most popular example of asymmetric cryptography is RSA algorithm. So we mark RSA. So the question 16. In a graph theory, what is the minimum number of color needed a planar graph so that no two adjacent vertices have the same color? So let's just see what actually the planar graph is. So in planar graph, no edge intersect each other than the endpoints. So let's say this is our graph. So this graph is a planar graph because here no two edges intersect each other than the endpoint. And if I add two more edges like this, then this graph is no more a planar graph. And we need to find the minimum number of color that we require to color the entire graph such that no two nodes is having the same color. So this is nothing but the one of the most popular theorem, which is a four color theorem, and which basically states that we need minimum four color to color the entire planar graph such that no two adjacent vertex is having the same color. So the four is the correct answer. You can also read more about the four color algorithm. All right, so in the context of blockchain, what does the consensus consensus algorithm refers to? All right, so it's basically used to ensure that all the participants in the blockchain agree on the content of distributive ledger. So option 3 is the correct answer. All right, so in networking, what is the primary purpose of DNS? So actually the DNS is a kind of a server which is used to map the IP address with the host name. That is to use the map the IP address of the host with the host name, and it's actually not possible for human being to remember the remember every IP address of the host, and even the IP address is dynamic in nature. That is, it is not fixed for the host. So for that, we have defined a method using which we can use some human readable domain to establish a connection between client and the host. So it's actually translate the human readable domain into IP address. So option B is a correct answer. So what does the enumerate function return? So it's actually return the iterator producing the pair where the first entity contains the index which is starting from 0, and the second contains the value at that index. So option C is the correct answer. That is an iterator producing pair containing index and the value from an input iteratable. So which of the following is not a property of a pure function in functional programming? So for this question, option C is the correct answer. That is, pure function is not rely on mutable global variables. So let's just submit this. All right, so we are done with the coding session. Now let's just solve. We, we are just done with the quiz problem. Now let's just move on to the coding problems. So the first problem was bitwise and challenge. So let me refresh this to check the submissions rate. Okay, so still having a 42 submission with the accuracy 42.85%. So let's just solve this problem. So basically in this problem we have an array of size n and an integer x, and our task is to find that whether there exists a non-empty subsequence of a such that their bitwise and is equal to x. And even this problem was prepared by me, and let's see how we solve this problem. So we have an array of size n. So let me write the element a0, a1, a2, so on up till a and minus 1. And our task is to find the non-empty subsequence of array a such that their bitwise and is equal to x. And in order to solve this problem, you just need a single observation. And the observation was that the bitwise operator, bitwise and operator is decreasing operator, decreasing, decreasing operator. That is, if you apply the and operation in this entire array, then the result is lesser than the result is lesser than or equal to the minimum element of this array. So a0 and a1 and a2, so on up till and an minus 1 is lesser than or equal to the minimum element of this array, that is minimum of ai over all the possible values of I from 0 to n minus 1. So using this observation, we check that if there exists some sequence for which the and is equal to x, then including the element greater than x, that is including the element for which the bit is set, will never affect my answer. So what I mean by this, so let's say x is equal to 1 1 0 1. Here I am writing the binary representation of x. So I will iterate over all the elements of the array, and I will check that if these 3 bit in the element is set, then I will include the element in my answer. Because so let's see. So let's say a1 is equal to 1 1 0 1, and a2 is equal to 1 1 1 1, and a3 is equal to 1 0 0 0. So what are the elements we include in our subsequence? So I will first check for this element, that is if all the bit that is set in X is also set in the element, then I will include the element in my subsequence. So all three bits are set. So I will include A1 in my subsequence. So let me change the color. A1 in my subsequence. Then we move on to the next element, which is A2. So again, all the three bits are set. That is this one, and this one. But this bit is also set. But so this bit is also set, but we include this A2 also, because this will never affect my answer, because we know the AND operator is a decreasing operator, so it will always return me the result lesser than or equal to the minimum element of the subsequence. So I will also include A2. So and A2. Then we move on to the next element, which is A3. And here this time we do not include A3, because all the bit which are set in X is not set in A3. Here this bit is set, which is fine, but this second bit moving from left to right is not set. Here we have 1, but here in A3 we have 0, so we cannot include this A3. This will degrade your answer. So we only include A1 and A2, and the AND of A1 and A2, which is nothing, 1 1 0 1 1 1 1 1. So this is nothing but 1 0 1 1. So this is equal to X. So after considering all the elements, I will simply check if the AND of the subsequence is equal to X, then I will return yes, otherwise I will simply return no. So let's just see how we implement this solution. So let's just quickly implement this solution. Or rather than implementing the solution from the scratch, let me show you the code for this. All right. All right. So here we have. So here I have declared my answer, which will simply store the AND of which will simply store the AND of the element in the subsequence. Then here I am start iterating from 0 to n minus 1. Then I will simply check that so here declare the boolean variable flag as true. Then I will start over all the 31 bits, because the value of AI can be up to 2 to the power 30. So iterating over the 30 bits is enough. So then I will check if the jth bit is set in X, and if it is not set in the element AI, then we cannot include this element in our subsequence. So I will simply mark yes as false, and I will simply break. And if yes is true, then I will simply add this element in our subsequence. That is, we take the AND with our answer. And don't forget to use long, because the values are quite huge. You cannot store in integer data type. And after processing all the elements, I will simply check if answer is equal to X, then I will return yes, otherwise I will return no. So let's just try to submit this. All right, accepted. Now let's just move on to the next problem. Geeks love coding. So basically in this problem, you have a string of length n which consists of the character a, w and n. And our task is to find the length of maximum length of the substring such that the substring only contains the character a and w, and we have to report the length of the substring and the number of occurrences of character a in the substring. And see, our first priority is to maximize the length of the substring, then the next priority is to maximize the number of character a in the substring. So the brute force solution is straightforward, that is, we consider all the possible substring, and for every substring I will check the count of character a, w and n, and if it does not contain n, then I will simply include the string in my answer, in my consideration, and we only update our update our answer if the length of the string is greater than the string that we previously found. Otherwise we simply ignore the substring. But the brute force solution would not work here because the value of n can be up to 10 to the power 5. So we cannot iterate over all the possible substring. So let's just see how we solve this problem efficiently. So we need to find the maximum length substring, right? Maximum length substring. And in our brute force solution, we are iterating over all the possible substring. So what I mean by this, so let's say our string is equal to a, w, a, let me write over n here, then a, then again a and n. So in the brute force solution, we are iterating over all the possible substring. But see, we want to find the maximum length of substring. So do we need to check for this substring, then this substring, then this substring, and then this substring? We actually don't need to check for these substrings again and again. We only process the answer when we encounter the character n. And if we do not encounter the character n, then we simply include the character in our previous substring in order to maximize the length. So I will start iterating from left to right, and when we encounter the character n, then we process the previous substring and update the answer if it is updatable. So yes, so I will start iterating from I is equal to 0 to n minus 1, and then I will check if the current character, let's say s of I, is equal to n. In that case, I will process the previous substring. Otherwise, so let me write over here. So then I will process previous substring, and I will mark the values of a, occurrences of a and w as 0. So in the problem statement, it was named as effective day. The character a is considered as the effective day. So I will mark effective day as 0, and the length of the substring is considered as the streak. So I will also mark streak as 0. And if the character was not n, then I will simply continue my previous substring. So else, what is the else case? So I will simply increment my streak, that is the length of substring, streak plus plus. And if the character was A, then I will increment the effective day. Otherwise, we do not increment the effective day. So if s of I is equal to A, then I will increment my effective day. Effective day plus plus. All right. Yes. So now let us see how we implement the solution. So let me show you the code from the scratch. All right. So here we have a code for the longest string for the Geek loves coding problem. And the solution uses the same idea that we have discussed so far. So here I am appending one extra character. And why I'm appending this? Because there might be a case when at the end of the string you do not have the character n. That is here there might be a case when you have some substring which is the maximum one, maximum length substring. So in that case you have to process this substring as well. So what I am doing here, I am appending the character n in the string to process this substring. You can also process this substring separately, but I am using this method to decrease the number of lines in the solution. So appended a, then here declared answer vector, and a of 0, a of 0. Okay. So just wait for a second. Yes, I hope the screen is properly visible to you now. So a of 0. So let me comment this. So a of 0 is storing the streak. That is the length of substring. Length of substring. And a of 1 is storing the occurrence of character a. That is effective days. Effective days, which is nothing but occurrence of character a in the substring. And see, our first priority is to maximize the length of substring. Then if there exists a multiple substring of the same length, then we have to maximize the occurrence of character a. That is, we have to consider that substring in which the occurrence of character a is maximum. So then here I have initialized the variables streak and effective day as 0, then start iterating over all the n character from 0 to n. And why n minus 1? Why not n minus 1? Because we have added the extra character. Then I will simply check if the character was n, then I will process the previous substring. And when we process the previous substring, when the length of the substring previous substring is greater than my previous answer, in that case I will simply mark answer of 0 as streak and answer of 1 as effective days. Otherwise I will check if the previous substring length is equal to my answer, is equal to the length of the string that we have considered so far. In that case I will check for the effective days, that is the occurrence of character a. And if the current substring is having the occurrence of character A is greater than the previous substring under the consideration, then I will simply update my substring. That is, I update the answer of 1 as effective. And I will simply reset the value of streak and effective here. Otherwise, I will simply increment the streak, that is the length of previous substring, and if the character was A, then I will simply increase the effective day. And after processing all the n characters, I will simply return my answer. So let's just try to submit this. Okay, all right, accepted. So now let's just move on to the last problem of the day. Last problem of the contest, which was named as add binary string without leading zero. So in this problem, we have a two binary string A and B, and our task is to return the result after adding the two binary string, and our result must not contain the leading zeros. So now let's just see how we solve this problem. So before moving on to the solution, let me give you the quick overview of a binary addition. Binary addition. So since the bit is either 0 or 1, so we only have four possible cases. That is a 0 0, and 0 plus 0 in the binary is equal to 0. So let me change the color for this. So it is actually equal to 0. Then 0 plus 1, then 1 plus 0, then 1 plus 1. And only the last configuration is having the interesting result. Rest of the configuration you can predict the result yourself. So 0 plus 1 similar to the decimal addition, 0 plus 1 1, then again 1 plus 0 1. Then here this configuration is having interesting result. In binary representation, 1 plus 1 is equal to 0 with 1 carry. So this is nothing but representation of 2, integer 2 in binary. So now let's just get back to our problem. So we have two string A and B. These are the strings given to us, and binary string actually, that is only consist of 0 and 1. So similar to the decimal addition, in binary addition also we start moving from left to right. So let's just say A is equal to 1 1 0 1 0, and B is equal to 0 1, or what we can say 1. Okay, let me mark 0 over here, then 1, then again 1. So we have to perform the addition on these two binary string. So similar to the decimal addition, here also we start processing from left to right. All right. So let us see what is the result of this answer. So 0 plus 1 1, then 1 plus 1 0 with the carry 1, then 0 plus 0 0 plus carry 1, so 1, then again 1 plus 1 0 with the carry 1, 1 plus 1 1 plus 0, 1 plus 0 is equal to 0, but we have carry also. So okay, 1 plus 0 is equal to 1, not 0 1, but we have a carry also, so 1 plus 1 is equal to 0 with the carry is equal to 1. So here we write 0, then after this we have to write 1 because we have one carry left. So this is our answer, and if it contains the leading zeros, then we have to remove these leading zeros. All right, so how we implement this solution? So we start iterating from right to left. But rather than start iterating from right to left, in my implementation I reverse the string. That is, I will reverse a, reverse a, which is equal to 0 1 0 1 1, and then I will also reverse the string b, which is equal to 1 1 1 1 1 0 1 0, and then I will simply perform the addition along with the carry, and left moving from left to right. And why I am reversing the string? Because after this addition I can easily filter out the leading zeros by with the use of pop back function in the C++ STL library. So yes, this was all about the explanation and observation. Now let's just see how we implement the solution. So yep, let me show you the code for this. So here we have, so here, okay, so yes, here taken the length of a string a and b as n and m respectively, then reversing both these strings, then declare the answer string. Then here I have declared the answer string, then using the pointer technique, that is a variable a, variable I, j and carry, and here variable I is corresponding to the string j is corresponding to the string b, that is the index in string b, and carry is storing the carry of the result. Then I will simply run a loop while I is less than n and j is less than m, because we need one character from both the string to perform the addition. So then the current sum is equal to character at index I in string a plus the character at index j in string b plus the carry. Then I will update the carry as current by 2. So what I mean by this, so let me explain you. So if the current sum is equal to 2, then the carry, the next carry is going to be 2 by 2, which is 1. And when the current sum is equal to 2, so when we add 1 plus 1, then the current sum is equal to 2. So the carry is equal to 1 for the next addition. And when the current is equal to 3, and in which case the current sum is equal to 3. So in a case when the characters are 1 1 and you have also the carry 1, in that case the next carry is equal to 1, so which is nothing but 3 by 2, which is equal to 1. This is going to be the next carry, and what we append in my answer at this position. So I will simply append current mod 2, current mod 2, that is answer of I is equal to current mod 2. All right, so if the current was 1, if the current was 1, so 1 mod 2 is equal to 1, so I will simply append 1 in my answer. If it was 2, then 2 mod 2 is equal to 0, so I will append a 0 in my answer. And if it was 3, then again 3 mod 3 is 3 mod 2 is equal to 1. And when it was 0, so when we add 1 plus 1, in that case 0 will be the answer with the carry 1. So that's why taking the mod with 2. So yep, then we simply append the current mod 2 in my answer, then I will increment the value of I and j. And after this iteration, I will check if I is less than, while I is less than n, because there might be a case when the length of string a is greater than the length of string b. So in that case, I just have to copy the value of extra characters of string a in my answer with the carry. So same thing here, I just omit this part, that is a character at index j in string b. We do not have any character at this index now, and then I will only increment my integer I. Similar to this, we have to check if the length of a character, if the length of string b is greater than the length of string a. In that case, I just have to copy the extra character from string b in my answer with the carry. So here we have a code for that using the same idea. And after this, we have to check if we have some carry left. In that case, I will simply append the carry in my answer. And now it's time to remove the leading zeros. And how we remove the leading zeros? So I will simply use the pop back function of STL library. But in a case when we have only the zeros in my answer, so then we have to return the single zero. So I will simply check while answer dot size is greater than 1, because the size of the answer should be equal to 1 in a case when all the characters are equal to 0. Then I am checking if the last character was 0, then I will simply pop the characters. And after removing the leading zeros, I will simply reverse the string answer, and then I will simply return this answer. So now let's just try to submit this. All right, accepted. So this was all about the today's session. I hope you guys have enjoyed the session, and please hit the like button in case if you have learned something new. And apart from that, your feedbacks are really important for us. It helped me to improve the upcoming section. So please do write your feedback in the comment. So yes, let's just wrap up the session. Thank you so much guys for joining the session.